The other day, I released my own fragrance, but nobody else in the car seemed to like it. So this panda bear decides he wants to have a good time. So he breaks out of the zoo and off he goes to Joburg, to the city. Gets on the highway, hitchhikes, gets into town, and he's walking around, he's not sure what to do. Comes across this bunch of hookers, prostitutes, and they say to him, "Are you looking for a good time?" He says, "Yeah, well, of course. I mean, how did you know?" So the one woman says, "Well, follow me. I'll show you a good time." So off he goes, not knowing what's going on. Gets up there with her into the room, and after about half an hour, he says, "Right, bye." She says, "Where are you going? You have to pay me." He says, "What do you mean I have to pay you?" She says, "I'm a prostitute." He says, "What's a prostitute?" So she just happens to have a dictionary, throws it at him, and says, "Look it up." So he looks it up, it says there, prostitute, person that sells their body for sex. So he's like, "Oh, I can't believe this." So he says, "But I'm a panda bear." She says, "Well, what is that?" So he throws the dictionary back and says, "Look it up." So she reads there, panda bear, black and white furry cuddly animal from China, eats shoots and leaves. I often hear that you can clean so much with alcohol. That's rubbish. I mean, after the first bottle, I can't do anything. So anyway, this guy who was playing around with his snowmobile, going down the snow mountain, and next thing he broke down, and his buddy finally found him after about an hour. Said, "Sure, what happened there, man?" He says, "I don't know, this thing just doesn't want to go." So he says, "Can I have a look?" So he comes and has a look. He says, "No, it looks like you've blown a seal." He says, "No, man, that's just the snow on my moustache." So anyway, I was at a restaurant and I asked the waitress for a quickie. Oh, she slapped me so hard. I tell you what, the woman next to me said, "It's pronounced quiche, dear." So the other day I was driving along and I hit this cat. Yeah, and I got out and I checked and this cat was so flat, man. It was flatter than a 5 rand coin. Anyway, I scraped it off the tarmac, went to all the neighbours, knocked on their doors, said, "Is this your cat? Is this your cat? Is this your cat?" Eventually someone said, "What did it look like before?" A dung beetle walks into a bar and says, "Is this stool taken?" People are always shocked when they find out I'm not a real electrician. So I've been teaching my dog to fetch my tools from the workshop. He's not perfect, but he knows the drill. So the neighbour's child was licking his cat. I'm sure he heard something he shouldn't have. I was in a taxi the other day and the driver asked me, "Do you mind if I put a bit of music on?" So I said, "Yeah, fine." He said, "Kiss." I said, "Well, let's listen to the music first, you know." A friend of mine, he said to me, "I'm bi." I said, I was about to say, "I thought you were." And he said, "If I don't get it, I buy it." Ever wonder why they call the corridors at a psychiatric building corridors instead of, shouldn't they be called psychopaths? Yesterday I accidentally glued my index finger and my thumb together. It'll be okay for a while. friend of mine met this North African woman in a bar. Man, did they just click. So I was helping my son a few years ago in doing his homework history, and he said, "What do you know about Galileo?" I said, "Galileo? He's a poor boy from a poor family. Galileo Figaro." Okay, so Khatib was walking down the pier with a big fish on his shoulder. And Mariah said to him, "Yo, Khatib, what are you asking for that fish?" And Khatib looked at her and said, "No, nothing. Do you want to ask him something?" Well, that's the absolute last time I'm going to donate blood. You know, all the bloody questions. Whose blood is it? Where did you get it from? Why is it in a bucket? You know, if I offer you a back massage in the shower, just say yes or no. None of this, who are you and how did you get in my house stuff. You know? And here's one for all three of my Afrikaans subscribers. Ek weet nie hoekom nie, maar elke keer as ek in 'n KFC instap, kry ek hoendervleis. Yeah, so I just found out that the whole neighborhood had a meeting about the one weirdo that lives in the block. It's funny how they didn't invite me. Anyway, I just got back from the doctor, and he said to me, "Don't eat anything fatty." So I said, "What, like cream, butter, bacon?" He said, "No, just don't eat anything fatty." I put ginger in the curry last night. My kids weren't very happy. They really loved that cat. So, what sound does a shark make? Doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. What sound does a gay shark make? Doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. So anyway, I found out the other day that my neighbor has got the world record for the most concussions. He lives just a stone throw away. So anyway, when I'm on a diet, I don't like to go on the internet because it keeps asking me if I want cookies. Yeah, and I'm trying to get it out of my mind, and they keep asking me if I want cookies. Do you accept cookies? I mean, they've never delivered any in the first place, so I don't know. How does an Australian find his sheep in the long grass? Satisfactory, mate. So anyway, this woman was playing golf, and she got stung by a bee. Anyway, they're standing in the clubhouse. She sees the golf pro. She says, "Yeah, you know what? I was stung by a bee." So the golf pro says, "Where?" She says, "Between the first and second hole." He says, "It's like I've been telling you, your stance is way too wide." If I knock over someone with an electric car, do you reckon I could be charged with battery? What about if someone steals my identity and I kill them? Would that be suicide? Yeah, so the other day I was propositioned by a Victoria's Secret model. All I had to do was do some advert, you know. But I wasn't raised like that. I was raised with really strong morals. Strong, like Ajax, the all-purpose house cleaner. You know the saying, say no to drugs? It always made me laugh because if you talk into your drugs, then it's way too late already. If bedbugs are found in beds, wherever did the name cockroach come from? What is the best pickup line ever? I reckon it's that one. You go up to a woman and you say, "Does this damp cloth smell like chloroform?" Sometimes I read a text and I think, wow, what a psycho. And then I send it. Did you know that the man that invented spell check died today? May he rust in piss. Don't like making plans for the day, because the word premeditated just gets thrown around the courtroom. Don't you just hate it when you clean out your freezer and you see people in there that you don't even recognize? Yeah, the moment I realized I had road rage was when my 5-year-old shouted, "Pick a f***ing lane, you kid," in the grocery store. When my son was young, he asked me, "Dad, where does poo come from?" So I felt a bit uncomfortable, but I explained it to him in full detail. Yeah, he looked at me so stunned and said, "Antigua?" Okay guys, wish me luck. I have a meeting at the bank this afternoon, so I'll be out of debt for once and for all. Yo, I'm so excited. I can't even get the ski mask on. So today I got fired from my job. Apparently me saying smoking or non-smoking is not right. It's meant to be burial or cremation. An elderly couple was sitting in church and the woman farted, looked at her husband and said, "Oops, I did a silent fart. What should I do?" He looks at her and says, "I think you better get new batteries for your hearing aid." So anyway, today I got a new deodorant stick, and the instructions said remove cap and push up button. I can hardly walk, but I tell you, every time I fart, the room smells awesome. Every woman has a bit of Marilyn in them. You just got to figure out, is it Monroe or Manson? Have you ever wondered if the money in your purse or wallet was ever up a stripper's butt crack? Bet you're wondering now, aren't you? Yeah, so my buddy's wife crashed her car again. She told the police the man that she collided with was drinking beer and on his cell phone. The police said it doesn't matter what he was doing, he's allowed to do anything in his living room. Okay guys, a nice tip. Don't ask your wife what time dinner will be served while she's busy mowing the lawn. If a tree falls on your ex in the middle of the woods and nobody hears it, I think you should still get rid of the chainsaw, just in case. To all the people that said I'd never amount to anything because of my procrastination, just you wait. I was wondering, what did our parents do to kill boredom before the internet? I asked my other 30 brothers and sisters, and they also didn't know. Okay, once again times are tough, so I'm going to be selling my nudes. So $10 for a nude, or $100 to not get a nude.